Okay, hello guys. Narito na tayo sa Activity 5 of Module 6, still on rights and responsibilities of workers and employers, no? So, Activity 5 is all about applying what we learned about the Philippine labor laws. And the objectives of Activity 5 are the following. Number 1 is to understand some real-life application of the Philippine Labor Code. So, nauunawaan ang mga ilang sitwasyon sa totoong buhay kung paano natin i-apply ang Philippine Labor Code, no? And identify ways in which the Philippine Labor Code can be broken and steps to take when that happens, no? So may mga pagkakataon na kung saan nagkakaroon ng violation sa ating labor code at dapat nating natutukoy 'yon kung meron man, no? Tapos kung meron man, dapat alam natin kung ano yung mga dapat nating gawin, no? Okay, so yan yung objectives natin sa Activity 5. And now, let's move on to 6.5, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Laws regulating labor in the Philippines can be found in the Labor Code of the Philippines and Handbook on Statutory Monetary Benefits by the Department of Labor and Employment and Bureau of Working Conditions. The documents can be downloaded from these websites. So, ang mga batas na kumokontrol sa paggawa, labor is paggawa, no? So, yung ating workforce, no? So, ang batas na kumukontrol sa paggawa sa Pilipinas ay makikita natin sa ating batas na Labor Code of the Philippines. At ang Handbook on Statutory Monetary Benefits by the Department of Labor and Employment and Bureau of Working Conditions. Tapos pwede nating i-download dito sa website na ito. Pwede nyong puntahan yung Labor Code and then yung Handbook. Diyan, no? So, a set of excerpts are included here to use as reference for the subsequent case studies. Please read the excerpts on sexual harassment, health and safety at work, and time off from work. After doing so, move to the case studies and answer the series of questions. So, medyo madugo ito. So medyo mahaba ang Activity 5, no? So, kasi i-apply natin ang mga batas doon sa mga senaryo o sitwasyon, no? Tungkol sa sexual harassment sa trabaho, sa health and safety at work, at saka yung time off from work. So may mga case study mamaya na ating papag-aralan at kung ano yung mga violation na nandoon sa ating batas ng paggawa. Okay, so pag-aralan muna natin itong mga excerpts o mga ilang provisions lang ng ating batas na nandito. So mga bahagi lang ito kasi kung yung buong batas ng Labor Code napakakapal yun, no? So pati rin itong Republic Act number 7877, no? So part lang ito ng RA 7877, hindi ito yung buo. So mahaba yun, no? So tingnan natin ito. Right to freedom from sexual harassment. So Republic Act number 7877 or the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. This is a modification of the original language. The law provides protection to individuals from all forms of sexual harassment in an employment, education, or training environment. So, ito yung batas na nagbibigay proteksyon sa mga individual sa lahat ng uri ng sexual na panliligalig sa trabaho, sa edukasyon at anumang training, no? Okay. Sexual harassment, ito yung meaning ng sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is committed by any person in a work-related environment. Okay, sa trabaho daw, no? Who has authority or influence over the affected individual and who demands any sexual favor from that individual regardless of whether or not the demand is accepted. So meron akong translation dito, tignan natin. So anong sinasabi dyan? Ang sexual harassment ay ginagawa ng sinumang tao sa isang kapaligiran na nauugnay sa trabaho na may otoridad o impluensya sa apektadong individual at nanghihingi ng anumang sexual na pabor mula sa individual na iyon at maaaring ito ay tinanggap o hindi tinanggap. Okay? So, sino ba yung pwedeng makakommit ng sexual harassment? So, ito yung tao na may otoridad sa isang tao niya. For example, yung boss, di ba? May authority siya sa kanyang mga tauhan. So, siya yung pwedeng makakommit ng sexual harassment. So, paano ba niya ito nagagawa? Sabi dito, kasi meron siyang impluensya, no? Siyempre, matatakot yung empleyado. Nanghihingi daw ng sexual na pabor mula sa individual na yon. At maaring ito ay tinanggap o hindi tinanggap. So, kung nag-alok siya ng sexual na pabor at tinanggap mo, sexual harassment pa rin yun. Nag-alok siya ng sexual na pabor at hindi mo tinanggap, sexual harassment pa rin yun, no? So, may kapalit yun, no? Pwede kang, sabi niya, pwede ba na magkasama tayo mamaya, tapos ipropromote kita sa trabaho, bibigyan kita ng mas malaking sahod, mga ganun, no? Sexual harassment yon. Okay? So, tignan natin itong susunod. Yan yung how sexual harassment is committed. So, sexual harassment is committed when, una, the sexual favor is made as a condition in the hiring or employment or in granting said individual favorable terms and conditions of employment, or the refusal to grant the sexual favor results in unfavorable conditions for the affected employee. So, yung sexual favor daw, yung nanghihingi ng sexual na pabor, ay ginagawa yon sa isang kondisyon para ma-hire ka sa trabaho, o kaya meron siyang ibibigay sa na kondisyon na pabor sa'yo tungkol sa iyong employment. Yun, no? Okay, so syempre makaka-apekto yun sa employee, no? Letter B, the above acts would impair the employee's rights and privileges under the existing labor laws. Syempre, masisira naman, maapakan yung mga karapatan at pribilehyo ng isang employee under the existing labor law sa pangyayaring iyon, no? And then, letter C, the above acts would result in an intimidating, hostile, or offensive environment for the employee. Okay? So, siyempre, kapag may pangyayaring ganun, hindi na maganda yung kapaligiran sa trabaho or sa workplace, sa working environment. So, magiging meron ng pressure, no? So, meron ng galit, meron ng inis, no? Maaring offensive na sa environment ng isang employee, hindi na maganda. So, yan yung mga acts na kung saan nagkakaroon ng sexual harassment sa isang trabaho. Okay? So, dito naman sa right to safe and healthy workplace. So, Article 162 of the Labor Code, no? Safety and health standards. The Secretary of Labor and Employment shall, by appropriate orders, set and enforce mandatory occupational safety and health standards to eliminate or reduce occupational safety and health hazards in all workplaces, and institute new and update existing programs to ensure safe and health working conditions in all places of employment. So, anong sinasabi dito? Ang secretary daw ng Labor of Employment o yung DOL secretary. So, siya yung mag-i-issue ng mga memorandum or orders para magkaroon o maisakatuparan ang kaligtasan at kalusugan sa isang trabaho, no? O sa isang occupation, o para rin maiwasan ang mga panganib, no? Para magkaroon ng standards sa safety and health. So yan yung gawain ng Secretary of Labor and Employment. And then, DOL's Occupational Safety and Health Standards, or the OSHS, Occupational Safety Health Standard. Each employer covered by the Occupational Safety Standard must. So dito, meron na requirement ng batas. Okay, so pwede nyo basahin ito pero meron akong translation dito sa Tagalog. Tingnan natin. So ito, ang bawat employer na saklaw ng mga pamantayan sa kaligtasan at pangkalusugan ng trabaho ay dapat na, number 1, bigyan ang mga manggagawa nito ng isang lugar ng hanap buhay na malaya sa mga panganib na kondisyon na nagdudulot o malamang na magdulot ng pagkamatay, sakit o pisikal na pinsala sa mga manggagawa. So yan, dapat meron yan, no? So dapat ligtas yung lugar ng hanap buhay para maiwasan ang pagkamatay o sakit o mga pisikal na pinsala sa mga workers, no? So requirement yan. Pangalawa, magbigay ng kumpletong mga tagubilin sa kaligtasan ng trabaho sa lahat ng mga manggagawa. Lalo na ang mga papasok sa trabaho sa kauna-unahang pagkakataon. So mga bagong recruit, no? So dapat merong tagubilin, orientation yon, no? I-inform kung ano yung mga dapat gawin para maging ligtas sa trabaho. So, yun ang dapat unang gawin. Kasama ang mga tagubilin na nauugnay sa pamilyar sa kanilang kapaligiran sa trabaho. So, dapat maging pamilyar sila sa lugar ng trabaho. Sa mga peligro na kung saan nahantad ang mga manggagawa at mga hakbang na kinuha sakaling may emergency. So, yan. Siyempre, dapat ito yung ginagawa kasi sa orientation, no? Sinasabi kung ano yung mga dapat gawin, sinasabi doon kung saan yung fire exit, kung may mga emergency, kung ano yung mga dapat gawin. So yan, dapat gawin yan ng employer. Pangatlo, sumunod sa mga kinakailangan ng OSHS, no? At gumamit lamang ng naaprobahang aparato at kagamitan sa lugar ng trabaho. So ito, importante din ito, no? So sa mga pagawaan, so mayroon palang approved na dapat nating gamitin na kagamitan sa standards ng OSHS, no? Siyempre, kung hindi ito quality, yung standard, pwedeng maging mapanganib. So, pwede tayong masugatan o masaktan, no? O pwedeng sanhi rin ng pagkamatay kung hindi ito ligtas ang mga kagamitan natin. So, yan yung tungkol sa health and safety naman. Okay? So, dito na tayo sa hours of work. So, Article 83 of the Labor Code, the normal hours of work. The normal hours of work of any employee shall not exceed 8 hours a day. Yan. Rest period of short duration during working hours shall be counted as hours of work. So, ano yung regular na oras ng trabaho? So, 8 hours. Yan. Okay? So, meron mga break, short break, mga 15 minutes na break sa umaga o sa hapon, tapos yung lunch break. So, nasasali pa rin yun or counted pa rin yun bilang hours of work. So, for example, pumasok tayo ng 8 o'clock, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? So, may break kayo doon na 15 minutes. So, hindi ibabawas yun, ano? Okay. Sa hapon naman, 1 o'clock kayo papasok. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Or 5. So, para maging 8 hours, no? So, yan. And then, Article 87, overtime work. Work may be performed beyond 8 hours a day provided that the employee is paid for the overtime work. An additional compensation equivalent to his regular wage plus at least 25% thereof. No? Work performed beyond 8 hours on holiday or rest day shall be paid an additional compensation equivalent to the rate of the first 8 hours on a holiday or rest day plus the 3% or 30% thereof. So, anong sinasabi dyan, no? So, kung meron mang overtime, halimbawa 8 hours, nagtrabaho ka na ng 8 hours, tapos nag-extend ng 2 hours, umalis ka na ng mga 7 o'clock. So, meron iyon additional compensation. So, anong sinasabi dyan? It is equivalent to his regular wage plus at least 25% thereof, no? So, 25% ng kabuuang sahod mo yung maidadagdag kapag mayroong overtime. So, minsan per hour yung rate doon, no? So, hindi ko lang alam kung ano ba talaga ang nasusunod doon sa paggawaan ngayon, no? Kung merong mga overtime pays tayo. At dito rin kapag tinawag ka rin sa rest day mo, tapos pinapasok ka sa trabaho, so meron din yan additional compensation, no? So 30% dyan ang plus 30% ng iyong regular rate, no? So yan yung tungkol sa hours of work. Okay? So narito na yung mga senaryo. Read the case studies below and answer the questions. Use the information above to help you deepen your understanding of the Philippine law. If possible, work on these case scenarios with a fellow learner in the life skills course or some in your household. So, ito yung mga case study kung saan i-apply natin yung batas, no? So, ito scenario number 1, gender-based violence or sexual harassment. So, Melanie has been hired to work as an office assistant for a new business in Zamboanga. So, after being on the job for about a month, one day her supervisor told her that if she would spend a night with him, he would make sure she will be promoted. She said she was not interested, but he cornered her, twisted her arm behind her, and threatened to fire her if she did not comply with his demands. Melanie was able to run away and tells her friends about the incident. So, yan yung unang senaryo, no? So, Tagalog natin. So, si Melanie ay na-hire sa isang trabaho bilang isang office assistant doon sa Zamboanga, no? Tapos, mga ilang buwan, yung kanyang supervisor, sinabihan siya na would spend the night with him. Siyempre, alam nyo na yung ibig sabihin noon, no? Tapos, kung pagbibigyan niya yung boss niya, sabi ng boss niya na i-promote siya sa trabaho. Pero anong sabi ni Melanie? Hindi siya interesado. Pero kinorner ng boss at twisted her arm behind her, no? Nawakan yung kamay, pinatalikod, tas tinakot siya. At sabi niya na tatanggalin siya sa trabaho kung hindi siya pupayag. So, anong ginawa ni Melanie? Siya ay tumakbo, umalis, at sinabi niya sa kanyang kaibigan. Ngayon, anong question dito? Or questions, what is the issue? And then, what does the Philippine law says about this type of harassment? And then, are you aware of any groups or organizations that provide services to women who have been harassed? Okay, so yan yung sasagutan natin, no? So, ito yung suggested na answer. Suggestions lang ito, ha? Okay, so medyo mahaba itong mga sagot dito, no? So, pwede nyong i-pause itong video kung kailangan nyong makita o kaya screenshot ninyo. What is the issue in the scenario? Whether or not the employer of Melanie has committed sexual harassment. So, yung boss ba ni Melanie ay nagkasala sa sexual harassment? Okay. What does the Philippine law says about this type of harassment? So, ito yung application ng law. Anong sagot dyan? Yes, the employer of Melanie has committed sexual harassment in violation of Republic Act 7877, the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. The law provides Sexual harassment is committed by any person in a work-related environment, syempre nagtatrabaho, who has authority or influence over the affected individual, and who demands any sexual favor from that individual. So meron bang authority? Yung boss niya, syempre boss niya, no? Meron. Okay. So, demands any sexual favor from that individual. So, nag-demand ba siya ng sexual favor kay Melanie? Yes. Regardless of whether or not the demand is accepted. So, tinanggap ni Melanie o hindi. Basta nag-demand siya. The sexual favor is made as a condition in hiring or employment or in granting said individual favorable terms and condition of employment. So, may condition ba? Meron. Nung sinabi niya, ipopromote daw niya. No? Or the refusal to grant the sexual favor results in an unfavorable condition for the affected employee. So, apply natin. In the given case, the employer has authority over Melanie for the fact that Melanie was his employee. The employer is asking sexual favor for promotion in return. This act constitutes sexual harassment as provided by the law. And then the next question here. Are you aware of any groups of organization that provide services to women who had been harassed? So, ano ba yung mga organisasyon na tumutulong sa mga kababaihan natin na harassed, no? So, some of the organizations that help women who have been harassed are the following: the Philippine Commission for Women, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, and the Philippine National Police at mga iba pang organisasyon, no? Na pwede nating malapitan kung may ganitong problema. So, ganun din yung DOLE, no? Pwede rin yun. So, eto naman yung ating next scenario. It's all about health and safety at work. So, Manny recently started working for a construction company. His supervisor told him that because he was so smart and fit for the job, he did not need training in the use of the equipment. He would learn by doing instead. One day, he was trying to use the table saw that he had never used before. He cut himself badly on one of his hands, and it began to bleed profusely, but he did not know where the first aid kit was located. So, si Manny ay nag-umpisang magtrabaho sa isang construction na company. Tapos yung supervisor niya, sabi niya, magaling ka naman at talagang kayang-kaya mo yung trabaho. Kung hindi mo na kailangan ang training sa paggamit ng mga equipment na yan, no? So, matututo ka na lang sa pamamagitan ng pagsagawa mo sa mga kagamitan o paggamit mo ng mga kagamitan. Sabi niya. Nung nangyari, isang araw nung gagamitin ni Manny yung isang lagare. Tapos, hindi pa niya naranasan o nasubukan na gamitin ito. Nung ginamit niya, nasugatan yung kanyang kamay at syempre dumugo. Dumugo ng dumugo. At saka hindi niya pa niya alam kung saan niya hahanapin yung first aid kit doon sa kanilang workplace. So what is the issue? What does the Philippine law says about the health and safety at work? How can such a situation be prevented in the future? So tingnan na naman natin itong isang suggested na sagot dito. Okay, so the issue whether or not the employer of Manny committed acts in violation of the right to safe and healthy workplace. So meron bang nagawang kasalanan yung employer ni Manny? So, anong sinasabi ng batas tungkol sa health and safety at work? So, ang sagot dyan, si Manny, yes. Manny's employer committed acts in violation of the DOLE's Occupational Safety and Health Standards or OSHS set by the Secretary of Labor in accordance of Article 162 on Safety and Health Standards of the Labor Code. Anong sinasabi doon? Each employer covered by the OSHS must, ito yun, di ba? Furnish its workers a place of employment free from hazardous conditions that are causing or likely to cause death, illness, physical harm to the workers. And 2, give complete job safety instruction to all workers, especially those entering for the first time, including instruction relating to the familiarization of their work environment, hazards to which the workers are exposed to, and steps taken into case of emergency. And then comply with the requirements of the OHS and then use only approved device and equipment in the workplace. So, alin doon ang na-violate ng boss ni Manny? Sabi dito, in the given case, the construction company did not furnish Manny a place free from hazardous condition that may cause death, illness, or physical harm. Mani was not also given complete job safety instruction, including instruction relating to the familiarization with the work environment, hazards to which the workers are exposed to, and steps taken in case of emergency. Diba? So, anong nangyari? So, yung kumpanya, hindi, tawag nito, yung workplace ay hindi siya free from hazardous condition. So, may mga panganib. So, violation yun doon sa unang item na requirement, no? And then, pangalawa, violation din yung hindi sila nagbigay ng orientation kung ano yung mga dapat gawin doon sa kumpanya at kung ano yung mga dapat mga lugar na dapat nating puntahan kung merong mga emergencies. Tulad nun, di niya alam kung saan niya hanapin yung first aid kit doon sa workplace, di ba? So, yun ay isang violation din na nagawa ng kumpanya. So, kaya nagkasala siya dyan in violation of the health and safety at work. So, yan. Okay? So, next question is, how can such a situation be prevented in the future? So, the construction company must comply to the following requirements under the law to prevent the situation. Siyempre, gagawin ng kumpanya para maiwasan yung mga ganun na aksidente, dapat siyang sumunod sa requirements ng law. Kung ano yung sinasabi ng batas, dapat niyang sundin tulad ng nandyan. Okay? So, basahin na lang ninyo kasi naibigay naman na yan kanina. Okay, so yan yung sagot natin dyan. I-post nyo lang yung part na gusto nyong kopyahin or i-screenshot para mabasa ninyo na maigi. Okay? And then, meron pang isang scenario. Ito naman yung time off from work. So, scenario number 3. Betsy, a young single mother, had been working long hours at a restaurant. She hadn't had a day off in over a month and often worked 55 hours per week. One day, her child became very sick with dengue, so she called the restaurant to let them know she could not come to work. Her boss was annoyed, murmuring that she will look for someone more reliable than Betsy. Betsy became worried she was going to lose her job. So, si Betsy isang single mom, no? So, nagtatrabaho siya sa isang restaurant at wala man lang siyang day off, tapos 55 hours per week. So, ano yung standard na oras? Pag 8 hours times 6, 48 hours lang. 55 hours siya nagtatrabaho. So, may mga overtime siya. So, hindi natin alam kasi hindi naman dito sinabi kung ito ay binabayaran yung overtime dito o hindi. So, minsan nagkasakit yung kanyang anak, dengue, at gusto niya magpaalam sa trabaho para tignan yung kanyang anak. Pero, nainis yung kanyang boss at sabi niya na titingin na lang daw siya ng iba na kanyang mapagkakatiwalaan, mas reliable than Betsy. So, si Betsy ngayon ay nalungkot, nag-alala, baka mawalan siya ng trabaho. Yan. So, what is the issue? What does the Philippine law says about the number of work hours and time off? And then, how should Betsy handle the situation? So, tingnan natin itong suggested na sagot dito. So, whether or not the boss of Betsy violated the labor code on hours of work. Yan. What does the Philippine law says about the number of work hours and time off? The boss of Betsy violated the provision of law on hours of work. And the labor code provides Article 83, the normal hours of work. The normal hours of work of any employee shall not exceed 8 hours. So, doon sa kanyang as a scenario, more than 8 hours a day kasi pag computin natin, 55 hours, 48 hours lang yung hours a week, no? So, yung rest period of short duration during working hours shall be counted as hours of work, no? So, yan, yung basahin na lang ninyo yung sunod Article 87, sabi dyan. So, dito, in the given case, Betsy works 55 hours a week, which is beyond the normal 48 hours a week. Her boss must have paid Betsy overtime pays and additional compensation for requiring her to work on her rest days. Yan. So, how should Betsy handle the situation? Betsy may file a complaint to the Department of Labor and Employment Office. So, yan yung mga pwede niyang gawin. So, yan yung suggested answer on that particular scenario, no? So, yan yung tatlong scenario na kung saan i-apply natin ang batas. Okay? So, the next activity, ito naman. Think about possible question you can ask an employer and questions you could ask a worker. Remember, it is important to be sensitive in how you ask questions. You do not want people to feel like they are being accused of a wrongdoing. So, write questions you could ask regarding rights and responsibilities in the workplace. So, mag-isip daw tayo ng mga tanong na pwede nating tanungin sa employer at saka sa worker. So, kailangan kapag nagtatanong ng mga ganitong bagay kasi mga sensitibo ito, no? So, baka iniisip nila na inaakusahan natin sila sa maling gawain. So, kailangan nating mag-ingat din sa pagtatanong, no? So, yan. So, ano ba yung mga questions na pwede nating tanungin sa employer at sa worker? So, tignan natin itong suggested answer. Questions for the employer. What are the benefits that your company gives to your employees? Yan. Do you give training orientation to your new employees? Do you give overtime pay to your employees? Do you grant service incentive leave? How many days? What is the monthly wage you give to your employees? So, yan yung mga tanong na pwede nating tanungin sa employer. Sa mga manggagawa naman, what is the official time you enter in your work? Does the company observe health and safety precautions in your workplace? Do you observe and follow rules and regulations in your workplace? How much salary do you receive in a month? What are the benefits your company grants you? So, yan yung mga pwede nating tanungin, ano? Okay? So, yan. Mga suggested answers lang po yan, no? So, the next is, ito naman, table na naman ito. The following table includes questions you might want to ask an employer. You should also add other questions from your brainstorming above and write the interview with response in the right-hand column. So, ngayon dito, magkakanta kayo ng isang interview at ang i-interviewin ninyo ay ang mga employer, no? Mga boss. So, ito yung mga katanungan na pwede ninyong tanungin at pwede ninyong dagdagan din yan. So, tignan natin itong mga suggested answer dito. Okay. How many hours do employees work per day? 8 hours a day, sabi ng employer. If an employee works more than 8 hours per day, how do they get paid? Additional 25% of the daily wage in every hour overtime. So, ang bait naman ng employer na ito. Sa bawat oras daw na extension ng pagtatrabaho ng kanilang mga employee, magbibigay sila ng 25% ng kanilang daily wage. Sa kabuang sahod nila sa isang araw, 25% nun ang maidadagdag sa sahod bawat oras. Di ba? Now, how often do workers get breaks during the day? So, pahinga. 15 minutes break time in the morning and another 15 minutes in the afternoon and 1 hour lunch break. How much leave time do workers get? 5 days vacation leave with pay after 1 year of service. How do you provide safety in the workplace? The company provides safety gears and protections for the workers. So, ang kumpanya nagbibigay daw ng mga kagamitan, kasuotan para maprotektahan ang kanilang mga manggagawa. What training do you provide staff on health and safety in the workplace? So, ano ba yung mga training na kinakandak ng kumpanya para sa kalusugan at kaligtasan doon sa lugar ng trabaho? Complete training on CPR. Alam niyo yung CPR, yung ano ba ito? Yung cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Yun. And first aids. Okay? So, yan yung training. Have there ever been cases of sexual harassment in the workplace? None so far. How do you handle cases of sexual harassment? If any, it will be handled justly. So, yan yung mga katanungan sa employer. Sa employee naman, Parang ganun din, di ba? Oh, how many hours per day do you work? 8 hours a day. How do you get compensated if you work? So, yan, parehas, medyo parehas. Siyempre, kung tatanungin mo, eto, ideal na mga suggested answers lang to, di ba? So, kung sa totoo, kung talagang magkakanta kayo ng interview, maaring may nagsisinungaling. So, malalaman ninyo. Interviewin nyo yung boss, tapos interviewin nyo yung kanyang trabahador kung magtugma nga yung kanilang sinasabi. So, yan lang, no? So, i-post ninyo itong video kung gusto nyong mabasa o makopya yung screenshot nito. Post nyo lang. Okay? So, end show. O, wala na. So, that's, okay, meron pa ba? Think about the responses from both the employer and employee. How much did they seem to know about the labor laws in the Philippines? What differences and similarities did you notice in the responses to questions regarding hours of work, health and safety in the workplace, and sexual harassment? Dito, kung meron man kayong makita na hindi pagkakatugma ng sagot sa mga katanungan, parehas na tanong, so pwede ninyong isagot dito. So sabi nyo, for example, ang sabi ng employer ay 8 hours a day, sabi naman ng employee 10 hours a day, so pwede ninyong i-note dito, no? Note nyo lang dyan yung mga pagkakaiba ng kanilang mga kasagutan. And then, sharing is caring. I-share ninyo yung mga napag-aralan nyo dito sa Activity 5. So, that's the end of Activity 5. So, sa susunod, next na activity natin, the last activity of Module 6 is Activity 6. Okay? See you on the next video.